Hey guys, PixarTNT here, and I am back with Seduce Me the Otome. Um, just a little quick life update. I am officially done with high school. I haven't officially, graduated yet. Excuse my adjusting. Anyway, I'm not officially graduated just yet. I will be on the 8th though, but this does mean that I will probably have more time for videos until I get like a job, cause stuff. Anyway, um, but yeah, that's cool. Anyway, let's get back to some sexy incubi dudes, huh? Anyway, load. Anyway, where we last left off is we were at our grandfather's funeral, and we found 5 unconscious incubi dudes in our bedroom. Well, not our bedroom, but our new mansion. So that was fun. Anyway, I woke to find myself in an unfamiliar place. Where was Mom? Dad? I was pretty sure this wasn't my room. Oh wait, I lived in my grandfather's house now. Of course it would be unfamiliar. I rubbed my eyes and surveyed my surroundings. I was still in the clothes that I arrived at the house in, but I was laying in a silk-covered bed. I remembered coming in the afternoon, so why was it nighttime already? Suppressing a yawn, I stretched my arms. Maybe I should order some food for delivery. I was feeling pretty hungry. I was about to sit up, but I suddenly realized that I wasn't alone.
You're awake.
And just a reminder, I'm going for Eric's route this playthrough. If you want me to go with other dudes, just let me know. Since when was he standing there? And who the heck was he? A guy in my bedroom? Did we? There's no way!
Hmm.
Sorry. I think I was saying my thoughts out loud. Why was I apologizing to a stranger who only said 2 words since I woke up? Wait. He looked eerily familiar. Then it all came back to me. Incubus. He was an incubus. He and his brothers came here for refuge, and 2 of them kissed me, and then I fainted. And that was how things came to this. Oh! He was leaning against the far wall looking at me. My heart began to race as I thought of the endless list of possibilities this situation brought me. I hated the thought of being under an incubus's power, especially in a bedroom. I instantly jumped up and grabbed a pillow, covering myself with it. I felt stupid, yes, but who knew what this guy could do? Do your worst! This time I'm prepared! He didn't move. I guessed that he wasn't going to attack me. Sorry. One thing still concerned me, though.
I'm not going to use my powers on you.
Huh? How?
I can read minds. It's an ability I was born with. Each of us has a different ability, outside of our usual mind-altering powers.
Great. Even more surprises. I grew even more worried about the situation I was in. I see. How long have I been asleep?
For a few hours. It's already gotten quite dark outside.
I'm prepared this time, you guys. I have a drink with me so my voice won't get out on me. Ugh. Okay, anyway. Ah, well, where are the others?
My brothers are downstairs, cleaning up the blood from the lobby floor. And making you dinner as an apology.
Oh, okay. That's unexpectedly sweet.
Oh, it's the least we can do after invading your home, and 2 of us using our powers on you.
You've got a point. Right, I had forgotten about that. It still irked me that they'd practically taken advantage of me at that point, even if they were demons. It was pretty rude to demonstrate their powers by kissing me. I wasn't some kind of human plaything. All of this seemed pretty unreal. It was like something out of those romance novels that Naomi sometimes read. I wish I could have just went back to sleep and forgotten about all this. Maybe I should have just called the police on them. then I would have never landed myself in this situation.
Do you feel well enough to get out of bed?
Yeah, I think so. Ah!
Trust me, I won't let you go.
Anyway, uh, I'm not so sure about this.
I promise.
Okay. I trust you.
Good.
I was speechless. He was carrying me as if I weighed nothing. He was so strong.
Thank you.
Uh, oh, yeah, I forgot.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
I decided to close my mouth for the time being so that I wouldn't weird him out or make things awkward. More awkward than they already were. Well, he didn't seem to mind carrying me or listening to me talk, so at least things weren't too strange. You know, not too strange. Just 5 incubi brothers living in your house. It's fine. uh, Damien seemed very quiet and calm about everything, especially with the situation we were in. However, there was a sort of longing in his eyes when he looked at me that wasn't lustful. It was more in adoration. Once we reached the lobby, I decided that I felt well enough to walk on my own. As strong as he was, it was like he was carrying nothing. I didn't want to make him carry me everywhere. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Thanks for carrying me, but I think I can walk by myself now. Not saying that I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it. Not in a weird way, of course. It's not like I get carried around all the time. What I'm trying to say is that it was really nice of you to do that. I started to fumble over my words again. Real smooth.
It's no problem. I'll be heading to the dining room then.
Uh, alright. See you. He gently lowered me to the ground before he walked off quietly, disappearing into the shadows of the dark lobby.
Oh, hi!
Ah! I also love Matthew a lot, so I love all of them, but my two favorites. Sorry, grammar. Ugh. My two favorites would have to be Matthew or Eric. Suddenly, a boy who looked around my age or possibly younger bounced up to me. He looked vaguely familiar. Oh, wait. You're Matthew, right?
Mm-hmm, that's me. Are you feeling any better now? We were all worried when you suddenly passed out.
I'm fine.
Really? Your face is kind of red. Do you feel sick?
Crap, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. No, I'm fine. I'm sure of it. I must have been blushing when Damien was carrying me downstairs. How embarrassing.
Well, if you say so. I hope Sam and Eric didn't make you upset.
It's okay. After all, I did hit Sam after what he did. And about Eric, I just wanted you guys to prove to me what you were saying. I suppose incubi are real then. I wondered how exactly I got myself into this mess. First my grandfather, then a fight with my father, blowing up at the set, and now this. I certainly had a knack for getting myself into sticky situations.
Oh, I have an idea.
He shoved his hands into his pockets with a cheery grin on his face.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Is he trying to do a magic trick?
Ta-da!
What is that exactly? He smiled as if to wave it off, but when he opened his eyes and saw what he was holding, his face froze in shock.
Wait a second. What did I just make? This is...
What he produced from his pockets was a creepy-looking doll. Sorry.
Ah, what is that?
I'm not sure. His face paled considerably and he dropped it onto the floor, scooting away from it frantically.
Get it away from me! It might be possessed by a demon or something!
But isn't he a demon himself?
That's not what I wanted to make! I just wanted to surprise you with a stuffed animal or just something to cheer you up. That looks like it came straight out of a horror movie.
He slumped his shoulders and looked down at his feet. Aw, it's okay. You don't have to look so dejected. I mean, it's certainly unique.
What? I appreciate the thought, but no thanks.
That's too bad. Are you sure? I picked up the doll and waved it around. It was funny teasing him.
Ah! Help! It's gonna kill me!
Alright, I'll stop.
Anyway, I'm heading back to help out with the food. You can come over if you're hungry.
I think I'll go with you then. Something smells good. My stomach rumbled in agreement. I was starving.
Oh, the girl's awake.
Excuse you, I have a name, you know.
Should we really care?
Sam, I will roast that tongue for dinner if it doesn't stop flapping in that idiotic mouth of yours.
Ooh, damn.
Whatever.
I apologize for his...
Oh. That's fine.
Good. I hope you'll enjoy the meal we prepared for you.
Meal? For a second, my mind didn't understand what James meant. Maybe it was the doll getting into my head and distracting me. Ah, that's right. Damien and Matthew mentioned that they were making dinner as an apology. Oh, wait, you didn't have to.
We insist. Besides, it's quite impossible to undo our cooking, even if you command us to.
All right. Well, thank you. Matthew put down the last of the plates on the table and bowed a bit, exaggeratedly to me, gesturing to the table with a sweeping motion.
Ah, there we go. Dinner's all served.
The table was filled with various foods from an eclectic section of cuisines. One portion of the table was filled with elegantly plated Asian foods, and another portion some yummy-looking desserts. And there were yet more and more plates that I could have possibly imagined. Whoa, that's a lot of food, and it all looks so good.
We hope you enjoy it, my sweet.
I'm sorry, I'm a fangirly mess when it comes to Eric, you guys. I'm sorry. I will try and reel it in, but I make no promises. Sweet? Me?
That's enough, Eric.
No, he's fine. It's fine, James. It's fine.
You're no fun, James.
Exactly.
I don't need to be fun, Eric. Miss, please follow me.
I didn't know what came over me, whether it was his politeness or maybe his power, but I couldn't help but take his offered arm. James seemed very kind and intelligent, but aside from that, there was something that set him apart from his brothers, not to mention he didn't really seem to hold much appreciation for them.
Miss, I have to ask, why do you live alone?
Oh, well, it's kind of a long story.
I'm all ears if you wish to tell.
To put it briefly, I just moved here today.
That explains the luggage you brought in when you came through the front doors. By the way, we put your belongings in the room you were sleeping in. That seems to be the master bedroom, I believe.
Thanks. This house is really big. I don't think I even explored the entirety of this estate when I was a child.
You lived here before?
No. Truth be told, this is my grandfather's house. I used to visit him all the time when I was younger.
May I ask why you now live in your grandfather's house?
He actually passed away yesterday. It was bequeathed to me in his will, and I was sent to live here, whether I liked it or not.
My condolences. It seems like you don't like the idea of living here.
It's not that I don't like this house, or that I don't have fond memories of being here. It's just the implications that come with staying in this state. It's kind of complicated to explain.
How do you feel about it?
I certainly wasn't expecting that question. But in a good way, it was different from what I had heard the entire day at school. I appreciated the fact that he was willing to listen. I feel angry, sad, scared, and confused. It's hard picking up the different emotions that I'm feeling right now. I wish I was stronger. Me too, girl.
You don't have to be strong.
What do you mean?
I understand that you're going through a difficult time, so it's okay to feel those emotions. You don't have to be strong at all.
Sorry guys, I was adjusting my mic, making sure it was nice and close to where you could hear it. Anyway, let us continue. Thank you.
Are you all right? There seems to be a small bruise on your cheek.
He caught me off guard with that comment. I thought no one would have noticed something as small as that. Oh, I'm fine. He stopped and leaned in close, a bit too close for comfort. Or maybe it was just me. Inspecting my face, he was really quite tall, having to bend over so much to just look at me straight in the face. It was hard to look at him, especially when he was so close. After a few seconds, he straightened up and began walking again.
Well, if you're having any problems, I'm always here to listen.
That's really kind of you to offer that.
My pleasure. Here's your seat.
Let me get your chair for you, lovely lady.
Oh, Eric was very charming, and his smile pulled at my heart. The way he kept flirting with me definitely designated him as the charmer of the demons. Yet there was a little distance in his eyes.
By the way, I apologize for my behavior earlier. Stealing your second kiss like that.
Huh? Oh, yeah. When I didn't believe that they were incubi. It's fine, I guess. I mean, you didn't just get up and grab a kiss for no reason.
I'm not as forward, unlike Sam.
Suddenly, Eric leaned in and whispered in my ear.
I won't lie, though. I enjoyed kissing you and feeling you melt in my arms.
I was torn between smacking him and trying to play it cool. You sure are quite the charmer.
Yes, I am known for that.
As much as I do appreciate the constant compliments, you don't have to keep talking to me like that.
Like what?
He batted his eyelids as if he had no idea what I was talking about, and I couldn't help but laugh. Well, like you're trying to get into my pants at the time.
I can assure you, I'm just a lover of beautiful women.
Something tells me there's more to it than that. For a moment he looked away, losing a bit of his smile. Before I could question it, though, he turned back to me with a new teasing smile.
Did you want there to be more?
I didn't want to hit him, but I didn't know how to react, so I couldn't look at him. He merely chuckled again in my ear.
Sorry. You just look so cute when you're blushing.
I felt my face heat up simply from his words. I then felt Eric take my hand and kiss it gently.
I hope you'll enjoy dinner, however, my dear.
Just give me 1 second, guys. I gotta go AFK for a second. Hey guys, I'm so sorry about that. I had to do something. I will give you a time in the description to skip to if you don't want to just stare at Eric's face. Anyway, I drew my attention back to the dishes. I was both intrigued and slightly scared by the amount of food they made. Seeing my expression, Eric leaned forward and proudly smiled, gesturing to all the dishes with a dramatic sweep of his arm.
I made almost all of the dishes myself.
If my mouse could cooperate and get off the screen. Humorously enough, Matthew looked at him with a shocked expression, as if he was betrayed. His face changed instantly to that of a frown.
And I'm the Queen of the Nile.
What's that supposed to mean?
Me, you, and James did the work together, dummy.
It's you, James, and I, Matthew.
Little boys will always make mistakes.
Matthew looked at James in disbelief, probably for siding with Eric, and he annoyedly swiveled back to Eric to confront him.
I'm not a little boy. I'm barely a year younger than you.
Well, you certainly don't act like it.
I really couldn't help but laugh. Matthew seemed very much like a kid. He was adorable. However, I couldn't help but feel in a way he was much more mature than the others, especially Eric. Don't say that about my boy, man.
Huh? Is something funny?
No, it's nothing at all. Thank you for the meal, all of you.
Oh. You're welcome, miss.
Such a well-mannered young lady. Beautiful inside and out.
Eric, knock it off.
In agreement with Matthew, Sam cocked up his head and glared at Eric.
Seriously, you're getting really annoying with that suck-up act.
It was obvious that Sam was the bad boy of the group. He had a big, tough act, and it was obvious he was physically stronger than the rest of the guys. But was there more to him than that?
I'm just trying to be a gentleman. The young girl has already gone through so much. She deserves a good treatment.
There's a difference between being a gentleman and being an obnoxious flirt.
Schooled even by James. You're gonna need some cold water for that burn.
By the way, I don't believe we caught your name even though you know each of us.
I'm Haley.
It's a pleasure to finally know your name.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
They were all comfortable around me despite the awkward situation we were in. It was as if it was natural for them to be around humans. I guess that was just how incubi worked. But I was still curious about one thing. Excuse me. All at once they looked at me. I didn't know why, but having all of them looking at me made me feel kind of important, like a queen or something.
What is it, miss?
I wanted to thank you for the food, but I still want to know why you all came here. I feel like I don't quite understand. Understand? Yeah, like being told that a bunch of incubi randomly appearing in your house. Perfectly understandable.
Oh, how do we explain?
We were attacked. We came here to heal. What's so difficult to understand?
Now you're just being rude, Sam.
I'm just saying, how is that difficult to understand?
No, I mean, what specifically happened?
Well, you see, we've been traveling around for quite some time now. Just recently we came into town, but we were jumped by this band of misfits. So, in order to escape and heal, we came here for shelter. Again, we apologize for the mess we made.
It's fine, I guess. So you're all better now, right?
Yup, all thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
You see, beautiful, we feed on sexual energy. But we don't just get it from kissing lovely ladies such as yourself. We can simply touch someone's hand to obtain sexual energy. Everyone carries sexual energy, you know.
How many times can I say sexual energy in the same goddamn sentence? I was still in shock about their powers. It wasn't just kisses that gave them power, it was anything physical. No wonder I was out for a while. These incubi intrigued me, but at the same time I could almost hear a warning siren going off in my head.
Is there anything else you wish to know?
Well, what do you all plan to do now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do now, James?
That is a very good question. We just got here and surely we'll be hunted again if we leave.
We can take him easily.
Not without more training, Sam. The result of that was clearly evident in our last encounter with them.
At that moment, I didn't know what came over me, but I suddenly felt sorry for them. They couldn't possibly survive out there if they didn't know it was illegal to break into people's homes. They probably didn't know a bunch of other stuff. They probably would cause chaos all over town. Or on the flip side, they could be taken in for questioning and be poked out and prodded like lab frogs for research. That was even worse. But most of all, they reminded me of back then. I was standing alone. The entire classroom was filled with laughter and chatter, but I stood in the midst of the quiet. Quiet and alone. It was strange seeing the whole world pass in front of me with such vibrancy, all while I stood there. On the plus side, I wasn't engaged in any of the drama that might have arisen, like scribbling on someone's paper for revenge, or kicking someone too hard. It was kind of nice just standing back and watching things pass by, and life go on. I had long before convinced myself that I preferred being alone. I often said to myself in encouragement, yeah, I want to be alone. There's no one I like better than me, so I ought to spend more time with myself. But there was a certain bitterness that, coupled with being alone, made me feel so sad. There was a difference between being alone and lonely. I just didn't realize it at the moment. And even after that moment, my father, my mother, there was no one to turn to. I was so lonely. That's when I decided on it right then. I was going to see my grandfather. I didn't care if my father wouldn't take me. I was going to walk my way over there and see what he had to say about it. Met I had never seen him before that. Met or seen, I'd think. What better time to see him then? If no one else was going to help me with that, what I was feeling, I might as well have turned to him. So after school, I decided to walk there. I had no idea how to get there, and I was armed with only a scrap of paper with the address scribbled on it. As a 7-year-old, I obviously had great ideas. I soon became lost, and like I always did when I felt lost, I just stood there on the sidewalk, back pressed up against the wall and eyes looking to the strangers passing by. And like always, people continued to pass by, and life continued to go on. I was sadder than ever. I had ended up in the situation I was originally in. Nothing had changed. I thought that I was silly for even thinking that I could change things with my own hands. And that was until a voice brought me back to reality.
Hun, is that you?
I looked up and saw an unfamiliar face, but it was obvious that whoever was talking to me knew who I was. And from that moment, things began to change. Life began moving its rusty joints, and I realized that things were moving along. Suddenly, I had become part of the crowd that moved like a blur past me. I was no longer someone who stood still and watched others hurry past. Life had changed. I had changed. Because the very person who found me on that day was my grandfather. I had the opportunity to tell them, though, would I? I wanted to, but I wasn't sure if that was the best idea. After all, 5 demons in my house wasn't exactly the living arrangement that I had imagined when I first moved in. There was the matter of making sure no one found out about their powers. Thinking about them as lab rats made my stomach queasy. And even if they passed for humans, how would I explain having guys living in my house? Imagine if my friends came over, they would practically think I was part of a harem or something. Oh God, imagine if my parents came over, I think my mom would faint. Who knows what my dad would do? I think we'd have them arrested on the spot. Ugh, this was hard. Maybe I should have written out a pros and cons list before actually having to make the decision.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
It was strange that I happened to remember what my grandfather said to me when I was little, but it did kind of make sense. They weren't in the same exact situation that I was in before, but I didn't want to help. But I did want to help them out. I think it would ease my conscience and also make me a bit happy to give them help, as weird as that sounded. Clenching my hands into fists, I strengthened my resolve to speak. Well, you could.
What was that, lovely lady?
That is,
Spit it out already.
you could stay here if you'd like. As soon as I finished my sentence, the room became still. I'm not sure what went through their heads from my words. The silence in the air cut like a knife until I finally spoke up once more. It seemed like you all needed a place to stay, and well, I just moved into this giant house, so it seemed like it made sense. It was still quiet in the room. I decided to keep talking. If you would like to stay here, though, there would be two things that I need all of you to follow.
Yes?
First of all, you can't use your powers or deliberately do something that might harm me or my guest that comes over. We'll save for enemies, but you get the drift.
That sounds reasonable.
Second, you have to help me with any errands around the house. This place is kind of big. So, yeah.
That is a generous offer, miss. Are you sure that would be okay? We don't wish to burden you any more than we already have.
It's alright, really. I mean, I just started living here myself, so I would appreciate some help around the house.
A wonderful idea. We'll live here and train while helping you with the house. Servants for the lovely princess.
What? Are you serious?
Shh, be quiet, Sam. I haven't slept in a bed for days.
They all seemed to like the idea except for Sam. And hey, I didn't really hate the idea either, even if they were incubi. It would be interesting having 5 guys help me with taking care of the house, given they would follow the rules that I'd just laid down.
Fine, but we're not staying here forever. Only until we can beat up that group of punks.
I think that is a reasonable time limit for our stay.
Yes, this is awesome.
Also beautiful. If you need a bedfellow.
Eric, knock it off.
I was happy that they agreed. Maybe it was because I wasn't going to be lonely for a while. Maybe it was because they all needed help and my want to help people was fulfilled. I would never be sure.
So what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Instantly, Matthew and Sam began to stuff themselves with food on the table. I noticed James's eye twitching in irritation, so I stifled my incoming laugh.
Really, you two? You're both acting like pigs.
Oh, let them have a little freedom, James. It's not like we've eaten recently either. I'm sure they've been starving.
Still, that's no excuse for stuffing their faces like backyard swine.
I almost couldn't hold it in. I couldn't hold in my laughter anymore. As I laughed, Matthew and Sam looked my way, faces stuffed.
Is something funny? What are you laughing at?
I stopped to catch my breath. I leaned over the table and took a few breaths before replying. You both are so funny. Both of their faces turned a slight pink before they looked away from me and they swallowed their food in their mouths.
Shut up!
The food.
We're not funny. We're hungry.
Well, we're glad that we made you laugh.
Shut up, Matthew!
What? I'm just saying.
See, James, it's entertainment for her.
They were funny to me. At least they enjoyed the food. As I watched, I took a couple pieces of food for myself and placed them on my plate before eating as well. Eventually, we all ate dinner together. It was strange eating like this, just guys, but they were enjoyable to be around. They made me feel like part of their family as we ate together. However, our peace was soon disturbed. Huh? It's my mom. Excuse me. Hello?
Hey, honey, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't get to see you off.
Hi, Mom. Everything's fine. I'm actually eating dinner right now.
Oh, good, good. So there was food there. Well, your father wanted me to call and talk to you about having a house party tomorrow night to celebrate the new house and all.
A house party tomorrow night? So soon?
Your father insists. You know how he is with events.
I knew exactly what she meant. He didn't like long, relaxing periods between important events. It was slightly messed up. I was expecting I was expected to act on the drop of a dime, from moving immediately the day after a funeral to my grandfather's house to now organizing a party. I know, well, since I don't exactly have you two here to help me arrange it, I'm going to need some time to prepare things.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, Suzu and Naomi can help. I have work, and you know how your father is.
I know, I have to do it myself. He won't help.
I'm sure it'll be amazing, honey. I have faith in you.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, I gotta go. I love you, sweetie.
I love you too, Mom. Great. Now how am I gonna do this?
Is something wrong?
She has to organize a house party for her parents.
How did you... Oh, right. Mind reading. But yeah, I gotta do it soon for my parents. Or my parents will be really disappointed. I'll have to stay up and organize everything tonight.
Hey, why don't we help you? That's what we're here for, right?
I don't see why not.
I can name a few reasons why we shouldn't.
Sam?
Back off!
We'll take care of everything, miss. Just leave everything to us.
That was surprising. I didn't think the boys would offer to help right off the bat. I couldn't help but smile. I was actually rather thankful now that I let them stay. Now I didn't have to do everything alone. As I kept thinking about it, I couldn't help but yawn.
Feeling a little tired over there, princess?
Yeah. It's been a long day. At least tomorrow's the weekend so I can sleep in. Then it hit me. Wait, where are you all going to sleep?
We found some guest rooms on the opposite end of the house from the master bedroom. I'm sure those will do just fine.
Oh, got it. Alright then. I'm heading to my room to study and sleep. I guess I'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good night.
I will. You too. With that, I left the dining room and went to my room.
Eric, no.
What? I wasn't going to do anything.
Yes, he was.
Shh!
As soon as I got into my room, a wave of exhaustion hit me. Why am I so tired all of a sudden? I just woke up from that nap. I dragged myself to my bed and hauled up one of my bags. I opened it and grabbed my economics book, knowing that no matter how tired I was, I had to study at least a page or two before sleeping at last. The words on the page scrambled in my mind as I read through them, but after 2 or 3 tries, I managed to understand what the page was about. Equations. Finally, I decided to change into my pajamas and head to bed. Today had been a long day, and I needed the rest. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. 3 days of surprises in a row would kill me. With that thought in mind, I drifted to sleep, embracing the darkness of slumber.
You fucking pretty boys think you're all that, huh? Well, save that to the end of my pistol!
Huh? What's going on? I couldn't move my body. I felt like I was tied up, and I couldn't see anything beyond the darkness that surrounded me. Yet I could hear the sounds of a heated argument coming at me from all directions.
One move and she gets it!
Let her go!
Matthew?
Come on, chicken shit. Fight us like a real man.
Like you scare me, Sam! Come on! Take one step, I dare ya.
Why can't I see?
Stay away from her, Malix!
And what are you gonna do, nerd boy?
Suddenly, I felt myself pulled to one side and arms wrapped around my body protectively.
I've got you. Don't worry.
Huh? Eric? As I was held in a tight embrace, I felt the world around me once again settle into a low, peaceful hum. The hostility of the dream before had faded into black as the arms around me rocked me comfortingly. Slowly, though, my eyes fluttered open and I looked up at the person holding me. Damien? I stared into the eyes of Damien. His face was painted with worry and concern, and I knew he must have seen my dream. Why did I dream of Eric holding me, though?
You can't control your dreams.
Oh, well, I guess you're right.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. What time is it?
It's 9 a.m. James and I were making breakfast when well...
You can't control your mind reading?
No, not yet at least. I hope to learn eventually, though.
Is everything alright?
Huh? Yeah, I'm alright.
That's good. I'm assuming you had a nightmare.
Yes, I'm sorry for disturbing you both.
You didn't disturb us, miss. Besides, we'd rather make sure you're okay before anything.
Oh, thank you.
Now, why don't you come downstairs with us and have some breakfast? I'm sure some nice food will take your mind off of what you dreamt of.
It was embarrassing to be the damsel in distress once again, but I felt rather happy that James and Damien were concerned for me. Despite only knowing me for a short time, I wasn't sure it was just courtesy or if they were genuinely concerned. I couldn't exactly read their minds. Alright. The two boys led me back to the dining room where the smell of bacon and eggs danced in the air. The smell wafted from the kitchen and made its way into the room, making my stomach growl in need. Breakfast smells good.
We should be done with breakfast soon. If you want to sit down at the table, you can.
I nodded before sitting down. As I sat down, however, my mind drifted back into the dream I had. The feeling of hostility around me made my body shudder instinctively, even though I knew it wasn't real. However, as my eyes closed, I felt a hand place itself on top of my head, breaking me out of my thoughts. Huh?
Morning. You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sam, the owner of the hand on my head, raised an eyebrow at me before rustling my hair and moving away to sit down at the table. He then barked towards the kitchen where James was working.
Hey! Is the food done yet? I'm starving!
There's no need to yell, Sam!
You're yelling too!
Don't argue with me!
From behind me, Eric appeared and sat beside me, rubbing his temples in obvious annoyance.
Can we not yell this early in the morning? It's not like we're in the castle.
Castle? For some reason, when I heard the word castle, I couldn't help but yell in surprise. These guys had a castle? Sam looked at me and smirked at my reaction.
Yeah, we have a castle back home. Our dining room's 10 times bigger than this room.
And wouldn't it be logical to not yell?
Whatever.
Soon, James and Damien appeared, hands full of plates that carried bacon, eggs, toast, and waffles. They placed the plates down by each seat before seating themselves.
My favorite.
Finally.
Thank you for the breakfast. It looks amazing.
It's our pleasure.
All of a sudden, my phone began to ring, ushering me to pull it out from my pocket and answer. Hello?
Hey, good morning. Guess who's at your door right now?
Right on cue, there was a knock from the lobby door, and my heart stopped. Suzu and Naoma were here.
I'll get it.
My heart quickly began to pound in my chest. Matthew was in the lobby, and he'd get to the door first. I instantly jumped out of my chair and rushed out of the dining room. As I passed through the archway between the dining room and lobby, I saw Matthew reach his hand for the brass door handle, causing the world to go into slow motion. Matthew, don't! But before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suzu. The world around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air go from war to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
I could not believe this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week it was already bad enough. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone do something other than stand there.
Who are you?
Suzu. Let me explain.
What's going on here?
Who's at the door, Matthew? Oh.
Soon the other incubi appeared in the lobby with us. This situation was not getting pretty. I had to think fast.
Then why did one of them open the door? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It was no use. There was no time to lie to them. I felt helpless. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder and felt the tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me.
We must apologize, ladies. We know the situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll...
I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he going to tell them who they were? Everything seemed surreal. Before I knew it, I was led into the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi and I sat across from their confused gaze. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Eric and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing! Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meals.
Make sure you dig in!
I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, Gently, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Yeah, something like that.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill. Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff. Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so...
Huh? Preparing for...
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight. Steam, go away.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi? I thought you wanted to go to the arcade. This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time, I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me a look of understanding, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Besides, it is my housewarming party. I should help out too.
Want us to help out as well?
I think we got it all taken care of. Thanks though, girls.
Alright, we'll head on out then so we're not in the way.
Sorry guys, I'll hang out with you guys soon.
It's all good, Anderson. We'll definitely come to the housewarming party tonight.
Thank you. I led them back into the lobby and led them to the doors, opening for them with a thankful smile. They both gave me hugs before walking out to Naomi's car, which was parked in the driveway. And with that, they left. I was happy that they wanted to help, but I had to do this on my own. It was not their work, so I didn't want to force it on them, just because they were my best friends. We had the entire day to work. The party was tonight, and we had to do all we could to make everything right. We sat down and talked about what needed to happen before the party started that night. Each guy had been assigned a different part of the party to do, and right after lunch we began to work. Since everything was taken care of by at least one incubus, James told me I could assist one of them. The question was, who? I stayed in the dining room, knowing that the table had to become a buffet table. As I looked around the room carefully, I noted that the floor needed waxing and the table surfaces needed major dusting. Eric came up next to me, lowered a small mop and bucket he had brought in onto the floor and rolled his sleeves up higher in his arms before looking at me with a raised eyebrow.
Are you sure you want to work with me with cleaning this place up? It'll be a lot of cleaning and tidying. Plus, we have to move the chairs to the corner.
I shook my head, rolling up my sleeves and walking to the table, grabbing a hold of a chair. I think I can handle lifting a couple chairs and moving them. Eric smiled at me with a soft chuckle before following my lead. Eventually, we had moved all the chairs to the corner of the room and had begun cleaning the room and the table. Silence consumed the air as we both focused on cleaning. I decided to start mopping the floor, but as I stepped towards the bucket, my foot rolled over a small fluffy object, causing me to slip. Before I hit the floor, however, I wound up in the arms of Eric, staring up at him, a dance-like dip. In a dance-like dip while gripping onto his shirt. His face held pure concern as he held on and looked down at
Are
me.
you all right, Princess?
All I could do was nod as I stared at Eric. He was genuinely concerned. There was no flirtation or smirk on his face. It was cute to see a new side of him.
That's a relief. You didn't twist your ankle, did you?
No, I'm fine. Gently, I felt Eric's arm dip under my knees so he could lift me up bridal style. I gripped tighter onto his shirt before he sat me down on the table and knelt down to look at my feet. I'm fine, really. Eric didn't speak as he gently looked over my ankles, lightly massaging them to test for pain. I didn't feel any pain. I felt pleasure. I bit my lip as Eric gently massaged his fingers over my skin. I had foot massages before, but Eric had amazing skill. Each touch and press sent a wave of pleasure running up my spine. I had to fight to hold back a moan. Eric's face, though, didn't shift to any of mischief or seduction. It remained as concerned as ever. He was full of surprises. Eventually, he finished looking over my feet and smiled in relief. He slowly stood up and smiled his usual smile at me with a small giggle.
You were right, Princess. You were fine.
Eric gently lifted me off the table and lowered me to the floor before placing a swift kiss onto my forehead and continuing his work. I stood there for a moment before slowly walking to my bucket and cleaning as well. My heart continued to pound as we both finished cleaning that room. The hour of the house party had arrived in my mind. I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was my chance for me to see my parents as a woman. For my parents to see me. For me to see my parents as a woman, what? It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched Naomi's and Susie's faces turn from smiles to complete, awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot. Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom. All just to the nines, proper servants.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman. Even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head and tried and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand up to me and walked me down the final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
I didn't feel confident at all. Something about tonight frightened me. I couldn't tell if it was the fear of my dad or of the guests that Dad surely invited. But something about tonight's party left me beyond nervous. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked to the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my uncle.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspection. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The world around me stopped as my heart pounded hard in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned. He began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked into the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Susie raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a smile and a handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as naturally as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really...
Do you have college plans?
I felt the questions came up one after another. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company had?
Do you think the company should
Eventually the questions stopped and I was back to being by myself. Naomi and Susie were mingling in the crowds and the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
Andrew was slightly taken back, but gently smiled and lowered his hand with a nod in return. My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with their rather personal questions. I looked at Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly, whether it was fear or insult. Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break the one word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO. I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
He's not CEO material.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I let out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Huh? Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mom. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held a simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, and my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him. A wave of confusion washed over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
Keep it up, and you'll be a good CEO.
Oh. Right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Oh. Right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party. We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me with the last of the guests gone. I sighed and sat on the staircase, exhausted. And with that, you guys, I think I'm gonna leave this episode off here. I have been recording for an hour. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!